The South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity, SAIAB, is an internationally recognised centre for the study of aquatic biodiversity. It is involved in many multi-institutional and multi-disciplinary projects and has a strong ethos around public engagement. The South African approach to RRI, expressed by SAIAB as fully engaged research, is seen as a continuum from early career researcher training through to implementation at the highest levels of government. Nucleus motivated the Institute to look inward, to critically reflect, and to be a key player in transforming South Africa's national science agenda towards inclusivity and sustainability.
I think we started with something of an advantage in that when we did our self-reflection, looking at it from the context of RRI, we discovered that in fact the principles of RRI were already quite well embedded in the Institute. I think part of that has been driven by the national agenda, the fact that we are a government institution and therefore we need to try and promote change. And then the big change for us, I think, has come through a sea change in the way research is being managed to grow into biodiversity in South Africa and try and grapple with some of the big issues that there are, environmental as well as societal issues that are gathering at an exponential rate.
Professor Olaf Weil works at the intersect of research and society, undertaking research to directly inform policy decisions, while also training the next generation of aquatic scientists to contextualise their research in terms of its value to society.
So as part of the biodiversity sector, a lot of what we do informs the direction of development. We see the research that we do and the data that we provide as providing important background information, which is then used to inform sustainable development. We are in an emerging economy, and as a result, we often don't have the luxury to be able to stand in the way of development. And I think in many ways we need to guide society in terms of where development is appropriate and where it isn't. So SAIAB takes its role in capacity development and training the next generation of aquatic scientists very seriously. The new generation of aquatic scientists need to be well-rounded in terms of both their biological or ecological capabilities, as well as contextualizing their research in terms of value to society.
Education in itself is important, so awareness is part of it. And I believe it's quite important to engage with the community because, at the end of the day, it's the taxpayers' money that actually supports us. So we sort of owe it to the community to say, well, thanks to your hard work, I have been able to do this, and this is what I found. So, based on what I found, how can we better tackle whatever issue that I was trying to address? If there was an issue, and even if there wasn't, okay, how can we just better take care of our environment? Because if you take care of the environment, it will take care of us. It doesn't necessarily mean, okay, you need to, pack up, go to that certain location and present. It could start anyway. Yeah, take a leap of faith. At times you need to move out of your comfort zone.
Looking at the RRI concept, itself, how do we define it? Is it something that we were doing as an organization but using a different concept? And we realized that we were, to a certain extent, doing RRI. We struggle to get buy-in from researchers because researchers or in the academia, they feel that their main role is teaching and learning and also to do research and publish, not to get involved in science engagement. Slowly we are starting to win them because some of them are getting more involved in science engagement, but using the RRI approach. In South Africa, we're going through a number of changes, in particular SAASTA, where government have taken a stand to advance in science engagement. Therefore, there are a number of policies in the country that are talking about that. One of them is the National Development Plan 2030, And recently, the Minister of Science and Technology approved the white paper in science, technology and innovation. And then in 2015, the Minister of Science and Technology approved the science and engagement strategy, which talks about how we should run science engagement in the country in a coordinated fashion. This project came at the right time for us because it's enabling us to go ahead and implement and make meaning of these policies that we are having in the country. When we look ahead, we think that there are a lot of lessons that we have learned from the Nucleus program that will enable us to shape the future of this country in terms of science engagement, and also strengthen SAASTA to play its role as a national coordinator of science engagement, but at the same time to ensure that the NRF position science engagement as one of its core pillars in line with the new bill.
Projects of this nature, international projects, collaboration projects between the National Research Foundation and funding partners to the European Union are really important to continue to drive the global science agenda. SAIAB is one of our key national research facilities, and having them as a pilot of this project has been wonderful. The lessons have been immense in the sense that, first of all, you had a willingness from leadership to postgraduate students in the organization, under the guidance and the leadership of Penny, who is the contact on the project. The fact that as it became a lesson of how to understand what it is, it helped so many of us to see that in some areas we're really far advanced in issues that are being addressed. For us, an issue as the NRF, and I think as a country as a whole, the issue of transformation remains core to our science agenda as well. Transformation is not an out there agenda for South Africa and larger Africa that does not include the science agenda. The science agenda is as well must be inclusive of things, of issues of race and gender, and who we include and who we don't include, whose knowledge made by who, for whom, are all very important questions in this kind of agenda. And so it's great to be involved in these kind of global projects. This drives yet another broader project that starts to look at different ways in which we think about our research and our research processes.
As far as the value add for SAIAB is concerned, I think what it enabled us to do by being asked the questions that we've been asked by the Nucleus project is to look inward, to see ourselves differently. And because, as I've suggested, there's so much that's already happening, to realize that we don't need to reinvent the wheel, that we have strengths, that we can work to those strengths, and we can tweak accordingly. We can find out where maybe there are some gaps, and we can seek to address those and fill those gaps as we go along. So it's been a wonderful trip and a wonderful learning curve as well. And also I think it's brought the NRF business unit, SAASTA and SAIAB, closer together to work in a collaborative way towards a common goal.